Today I'm in the Alps, but not the Swiss or indeed the French Alps. I'm in England, but find out which county I'm in just a moment.
On today's show, we're helping a couple swap their modern urban lives for some traditional country living, which our properties serve up from the start.
Never cooked on a range, so it'd be interesting to find out how it all
It's
works,
an art.
really. Yeah.
It's a dark art.
Then some spectacular scenery sends their hearts soaring.
Oh, yes.
Wow, that is a great view.
But can any of our houses convince them that their dream could be a reality?
This would give us the lifestyle that we want.
Today we're in Cornwall, and not far from the town of St Austell is this extraordinary landscape of weird peaks and turquoise lakes known as the Cornish Alps. Though these Alps are not natural, they are the byproduct of china clay extraction. Now, back in its heyday in the 19th and early 20th century, this area was producing more than 3 million tonnes a year of this stuff, making it the largest producer in the world at that time. Now, china clay is used to make porcelain and also paper, and in order to get 1 usable tonne of the product, you end up with 9 tonnes of waste. And it's the waste that has left us this legacy landscape of Cornwall's proud industrial past. Though it's not the only thing this county has to be proud of.
Lying in the extreme southwest corner of England and sharing just one county border with Devon, Cornwall is flanked by some 300 miles of wraparound coastline. The wild Atlantic Ocean crashes against its rocky northern shores, where deep blue rollers create the ideal conditions for surfing, and where the cliffs conceal caves known only to smugglers and seagulls. Sheltered from the Atlantic in bays along the coast are many fishing villages where trawlers sit alongside pleasure boats, reflecting the county's seafaring activity of past and present. Discover more of this county further inland by walking or cycling the Camel Trail, linking Padstow's busy harbour to Bodmin's wide expanse of granite moorland. With such fabulous countryside and coastline on offer, it's no wonder that Cornwall is so proud of its heritage.
Right, it's the time in the show where we talk about property prices. The average detached price in Cornwall is £263,000, which is £6,000 above the national figure. Although you do have to remember that that includes all those super expensive places like Rock, Padstow and Foy. Further inland, places like Redruth, Camborne, Bodmin, you get a lot more house for your money. But the general rule of thumb here is that the coast is king. You're going to be paying about 50% over the odds to get a sea view. However, wherever you are, the bricks and mortar are beautiful and very stylish, although they're more likely to be slate and granite.
Cornwall's history of mineral extraction is evident in its housing stock. The natural Cornish stone, with added red brick detail used to build this 3-bedroomed terrace in the village of St Teth, gives it real heritage curb appeal. It's currently priced at £335,000. Another common sight are village properties built from cob, which is a mixture of clay, sand and straw. Eco-friendly and durable, it's become a fashionable choice for new builds, but old cob houses built centuries ago still stand the test of time. Granite and slate are also a recurrent theme, granite being incredibly hard-wearing and perfectly suited to coastal properties exposed to the corrosive sea air. You'll also find slate used on both the roofs and the front facades of traditional Cornish homes.
You can't beat Cornish granite and slate, but is it going to be enough to magnetise and hypnotise our house buyers today? Let's meet them.
Mark and Sandra have lived in their modern 4-bedroom house in the busy Sussex town of Burgess Hill for the past 12 years. Sandra's career involves working in the travel industry, whereas Mark has spent the last 28 years in the police force, and of late, by royal appointment.
I moved up to London about 10 years ago and I've worked in the centre of London since then. And then just recently I've been posted out to Windsor Castle and now I'm looking after the Queen at Windsor. Number 1, Sandra, number 2, the Queen, and and then number 3, Ruby, the dog.
We've now come to a stage where Mark's coming to the end of his career. He is on a very flexible shift, so we could move somewhere else, quite far away from here. He could still commute for the last 18 months of his career.
So with one chapter nearing a close and without dependents, the focus is less on work and more on combining holidays and home life.
We're dinkies, as they say, dual income, no kids. So we basically love to travel, so we go on holiday when we can, and it would be nice to have a place somewhere where we feel like we're on holiday even if we're not.
We've holidayed in Cornwall for the last 4 or 5 years, and each time just fall more and more in love with the place.
But it also has good links on the train straight back into Paddington.
Despite winding down the work routine, this move is not about taking life slowly.
I've never surfed, but it would be fun to have a go. What I'd like to do is jump off the cliffs into the sea, really.
I hope to take some of my tourism experience down there and hopefully get a job down there with that. If not, I can just while my days away painting and and eating, which I love doing.
A good thing about Cornwall is there's lots of local produce down there which will link in very much with my cooking. I love having friends round, cooking big meals.
And when it comes to the property, entertaining is high on the agenda.
We're quite sociable, so although we seem to be moving away from friends and family, what we're thinking is that when they come, they have to stay. So
Yeah.
we'll get to see them for a bit longer. There's a certain thing that I really want to do is to have massive big open up doors with a view. So that's what I'm looking for in my next house.
But before we can start searching for their new home, we need to find out what figure they have in mind for their Cornish property.
The budget for our move will be £350,000, and that will hopefully be a house that's already done. If not, we need to go a little bit lower so that we've got money to incorporate
Do the
and
work.
do the work.
Yeah.
Ideally, Mark needs a location near to the town of Bodmin, which has a direct train line to London for when he has to travel back to Windsor for work. So we'll be trying to focus our search on countryside locations within a 20-mile radius of the town. And it's in such a setting that we're meeting up to discuss the details of this Cornish move.
Here we are. Welcome you two to Cornwall.
Hi.
Oh, you know it quite well, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We've been here quite a few years on holiday.
Always enjoyed it. It's a lovely county. Nice feeling.
It's good to hear since you're about to move here. And in terms of the house, what are you looking for?
What we would like is a view. Ideally, like this.
Okay.
We're going to be quite close to the seaside, but we understand that with our budget we probably won't be able to afford to have a sea view as well. Doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of land.
We're looking for 3-4 bedrooms.
And a nice big open kitchen diner.
Yeah, so that we can
Hopefully.
look out on the view, hopefully, that you found as well.
You're going to be doing this crazy commute back to London, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. I still work in London, well, work in Windsor, so work 4 days on, 4 days off. So the days off, I'll be back here.
And what about the location? I mean, are you looking for super rural or more in a village?
Edge of a village, probably, you know, not totally isolated, because when I'm on working, Sandra will be on her own in the middle of the country.
Yeah. And what's your budget?
350 max.
So we'll do a bit of juggling, but we have found 3 very beautiful properties.
Okay.
Excellent.
We're quite excited. Very different as well, so
Ooh.
I hope that they kind of spark some interest.
Can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
them.
Come with me.
Thank you.
For a top budget of £350,000, Mark and Sandra would like a country home with potential for further development that has at least 3 bedrooms and a large kitchen diner for entertaining. The location needs to be within reach of a direct train line into London, but above all, they long for somewhere that gives them a fabulous view. And the selection of beautiful Cornish homes we've got lined up certainly have the upper hand when it comes to the surrounding scenery. But I won't reveal the prices until they've had a guess first. Then, to top it off, we've got the Mystry house, where there's every chance the tide could turn. Mindful of Mark's need for a good train link, our property search gets underway in the rural hamlet of Rescorla, which is a 20-minute drive to Bodmin Parkway railway station. Essential amenities as well as a pub are located in the nearby village of Bugle, but Rescorla itself delivers a quiet country setting, with traditional granite houses lining its winding streets, one of which we've earmarked for them.
This is our first property.
Lovely.
Well, it doesn't have great curb appeal at the moment, I would say, in my humble opinion.
A bit spruced up, but it'll, yeah.
But this is a great property. It is an 1800 stone-built Cornish cottage.
Okay.
Should we look inside?
Very nice. Yeah,
Let's do it.
please.
This substantial granite semi-detached cottage also comes with a double garage, and inside has great character bones.
Mind your head.
Nice wood burner, which is good.
Like
It feels warm and cosy.
Yeah. It's quite small, that sitting area. You couldn't get a large piece of furniture, and because that staircase is right there.
In terms of light, there's not a lot of light in here.
But we don't know what's at the back
But
of the property.
it does make it cosy, so...
In the winter, this would be a lovely room.
Yeah. Now, I think you're going to be interested in the kitchen and the outside space, but before we go there, let's just peek up these stairs.
We're going to check out the bedrooms next, as I'm saving the property's best selling points until later. That's not to say there's anything lacking upstairs, as along with a large, light family bathroom, there are 4 bedrooms in total. These include a bright double with a deep inset window, giving them the rural outlook they want. There's also another well-proportioned double, decked out with bunk beds, and a cosy but charming single. But we're heading for the master bedroom.
Nice size.
A lot of space in here.
Is this going to be big enough for you as a master? I think they use this one as the master.
Yeah, it's a shame because the views are out that way.
Yeah, well, you could swap
But it's
them
still
around.
big, yeah.
You can move in straight away, just you would want to do a few extras. That's...
Yeah. So that's upstairs. So it's a good offering upstairs, but it is downstairs that we particularly wanted to show you. So let's head to the kitchen.
Back down on the ground floor to the rear of the property, there's a second reception room being used as a snug, which takes in those far-reaching views. And it lies right at the end of the kitchen.
Come on into the kitchen.
Oh.
Lovely, yeah. Nice range.
Yeah, lovely, isn't it?
And farmhouse kitchen, yeah. And a view.
Beautiful view.
I've never cooked on a range, so it'd be interesting to find out how it all
It's
works.
an art.
Really. Yeah.
It's a dark art, I think. But the whole thing about this property, I think, is what's out there. And what's out there, I think, has amazing potential.
Lovely.
So let's go there.
Wow.
So if I'm honest, I think the whole house, it's not a great beginning, but it all builds up to this.
Really nice space,
Really
actually,
beautiful.
because it, as you say, it all focuses you into that view, so lovely.
And what are your immediate thoughts, bearing in mind that the kitchen isn't so big and you wanted a kitchen diner?
Well, there's obviously a lot of potential here as well, so what's in all of that lot and how easy would it be to make that into more accommodation?
Yeah, let's go down and have a look. Really good, solid. They're not terribly wide, but it's a very robust building.
Yeah.
So this is the boundary of the property, this lovely old wall.
Yeah.
But you can see the potential here. I mean, they're really substantial outbuildings.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's a big garden, look, because you get all of this as well. All the way down there, and you could clear, a space between those trees or have that as a more shaded area, or a veggie patch even.
And it's straight onto the fields, which is what we were after. It's that's just lovely.
So it's an unusual because it doesn't have the enormous wow of the front, but it definitely has, I think.
But it finishes off on a row, so that's good.
So what do you think it's worth? What's it on the market for?
I'm thinking around 315.
I'll go for a little bit more, 325.
Well, it's actually on the market for offers over 330.
Ah,
I think it's a strong contender just because of the potential,
Definitely.
particularly with these outside
It is
buildings.
huge inside.
Yeah. Why don't you have a look around, because we kind of rushed around upstairs, and actually have a good nosy around in these and think about what you might want to do in
Actually
there.
do to them.
Yeah.
And
lovely.
I'll see you out front.
Okay.
Thank you.
For offers in excess of £330,000, our first property is a 19th century cottage that comes with 2 reception rooms, 4 bedrooms, and a stone-built barn that has got potential written all over it. Being under budget, they have money left over to develop it and take advantage of those uninterrupted countryside views.
Okay.
I think we would use this as the master bedroom because you've got the view.
Definitely.
And all of this is just partition walls, so you could take that down and maybe
Ensuite.
Ensuite.
Dressing room. The downstairs is a lot bigger than I anticipated from the outside. It's got lots of potential. It hasn't got our kitchen done on it, but I think we could extend out and we could get exactly what we want with incorporating this view.
the real potential of the property is back here and the view that's behind me, and it's gorgeous. Probably not one that we would have looked at, but given what we've seen and the potential that there is in it, I'm glad we did see it.
A bit of blue sky now. Just enough to sew a pair of sailor's breeches, as they say. Hello, sun's come out. If the sun
Excellent.
comes out during a viewing, it means you have to buy it.
Oh, excellent.
Possibly.
No, I'm going to go and show you the second house.
OK.
The atmospheric light conditions in Cornwall have captivated artists since the days of Turner, who was known to have toured the county in 1811. Today, the seaside town of St Ives, set on the northern coast, is widely renowned as an artistic hub. But it was some 10 miles away on the southern shores that in the 1880s, many of Britain's most talented landscape painters founded an artists' community collectively known as the Newlyn School. That legacy continues over a century later, as Newlyn has recently opened its doors to a new school of art, the brainchild of local artist Henry Garfitt. Earlier in the week, we sent Sandra, who's a keen painter, and Mark to find out more.
Lovely to have you here at Newlyn School of Art. There were 130 different artists working in Newlyn at around 1900, and they had to introduce a new train from here to London for all the paintings that were submitted to the Royal Academy summer show every year. So a huge number of people working here. And all the cobbled streets around are very much as you would have seen them then, actually. Have you done much painting before?
I've done a small amount at home, just messing about with different acrylics and watercolours.
I'm a complete beginner. I do a bit of photography. Be interesting to see what I could paint, because I haven't done that since school. So
We do courses here of sort of 1 to 3 days in drawing, painting, stone carving, printmaking, all sorts of different things. And we've got 20 well-known local artists teaching here, and kind of all levels of experience are welcome.
The school is a not-for-profit venture, founded to help Cornwall's artistic residents supplement their incomes from creative work. Landscape artist Paul Lewin is one such painter who teaches a mixed media course.
What I'd like to get you to do is to free up and to use colour and mark making in a mixed media on paper. I'm going to show you some techniques that I use for finishing it. One of my favourite tools is actually a Stanley knife blade, which I will use in the paint.
After a demonstration of paint techniques from the expert, it's off to an inspiring cliff top to put paint to paper. The dramatic effects of both light and landscape mean that Cornwall is home to the largest concentration of artists outside of London.
So how have you got on? That looks great.
Well, it's a start.
It is a
We've
start.
got a little bit haywire over here.
Yeah, haywire's good when you're painting the sea. It is a very difficult subject, the sea. I'm sure you've found out. I mean, it's always moving. That's good. You've mixed some of the colour from the sky into the sea here. But there's a great energy about it. Great, well done.
Now that they've had a chance to embrace Cornwall's natural qualities, let's see if our properties paint an equally pretty picture. For our second house, we're venturing towards the northern coast, to a cliff-top hamlet called Treligger, about half an hour's drive from Bodmin. Within easy reach of everyday essentials in the neighbouring village of Sainteth, the entire hamlet of Treligger lies within a conservation area on a rugged and enchanting bit of coast between Port Isaac and Tintagel. And it's here, with commanding views over cliffs and sea beyond, that our second property sits.
This is the house.
Yes, I like.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
And you get a distinct sniff of the sea.
Certainly
I
do,
can
and
smell it.
the views coming in were great as well. So.
You thought you wouldn't get sea views, but maybe we
But maybe we
Oh,
will.
maybe we will.
What do you think about the property?
Love it.
Yeah, looks nice.
Really nice, yeah.
And it's in a very nice little village.
You certainly feel right in the country, do you? So,
Enough chat, should we go to the
Lovely.
side?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
please.
Although the traditional hung slate tiles hint at this being an historic property, it was actually built in 2005. But perhaps its more modern feel inside will appeal to Sandra and Mark.
So, come into the kitchen diner.
Very nice.
It's a great space because they could design it as they wanted it, really.
Yeah.
They were able to put in everything that they want. So there's a lovely big, tiled area here.
Yeah.
Wonderful utility room with all the white goods and lots of storage there.
Great.
I mean, in a way, it has a lot of the traditional features with the
Sure.
slate and the wood. There's a lot of wood in the property, but it has
Got
all
a
the mod
modern
cons,
feeling.
which is kind of what you were looking for.
That's-
So
yes.
upstairs, they've turned the upstairs into a sitting room to maximise the views, but there's also a sort of winter sitting room down here.
Okay.
I like this room.
Oh, yes. That is very nice.
It's stylish, isn't it?
So I'm just thinking a lot about this house, actually. I'm already getting that feeling.
Sandra may be warming to this house, but I sense we need to keep going to feel good vibes from Mark as well. Down on the ground floor, there's also an attractive double bedroom with fitted wardrobes, ideally placed as a guest room, as there's a stylish tiled wet room down here too. Then upstairs, alongside a contemporary bathroom, are the other two bedrooms, and we're going to check out the biggest one.
This is the one that they're using as the master bedroom.
It's a nice size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's got a lovely skylight, and there's some built-in storage. Is the bedroom a big thing for you? Does it need to be big and spacious? Or?
It's quite tight, isn't it?
It's quite tight.
But you've got to balance the whole thing up, haven't you?
Yeah,
So-
where it's situated, the view.
Can't have everything.
The other bedroom up here gives them extra storage space. It's currently being used as a hobby room and offers a glimpse of the sea. But it's in the main living area that those views really come into their own.
Oh, yes.
Wow, that is a great view.
That is
You thought
lovely.
we couldn't give you a sea view? We
Yeah.
found you a sea view.
You've done well.
It's clear that this house has swept Sandra away. So let's have a look outside at the paved garden and try and put a price on those picture-perfect views.
So you got the little path that goes down to the sea that way,
Yeah.
and then the road out that way. And these charming little sort of clump of cottages around you. But somehow it's still quite private.
It's lovely.
What do you think this is worth?
I'll go first, and I think 340.
I actually think it's more than that because of its location. I think 370.
Well, you obviously think we're nastier than we are, because actually this is on the market at 350.
Good.
I think it's a lovely contender.
This would give us the lifestyle that we want, so...
Well, have a look around inside. We've seen most of it. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, come on. This is a great house. I would buy this house. It's gorgeous. So I just hope that their desire for something bigger doesn't get in the way of what's affordable.
Bang on budget at £350,000, this sympathetic new build has some topsy-turvy elements in the layout, but provides them with a perfect kitchen diner, 2 reception rooms, 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. As it requires no work, they could just move in and soak up the coastal setting and views.
Overall, I think for me, I could live quite comfortably here. I would really like it. I think I'm going to have to persuade Mark a little bit. I do know his priorities are a little bit different. I think the downsides are definitely outweighed by the location.
The approach down here from the main road was fantastic. You can see the rolling fields and the sea shimmering in the distance, and it really is lovely. The hamlet here is a beautiful little small Cornish hamlet. You couldn't expect anything better. It's a lovely house. Whether it's right for me, I'm not sure, but Sandra really likes it, so, you know, I'm going to have to think long and hard about it.
Hello.
Hi.
The wind is picking up.
Sure is.
Time for you to maybe have a little bit of discussion about the houses we've seen.
Yeah.
Rest your head and get ready for tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay.
With the last rays of the sun glistening on the water, the first day of our Cornish house hunt draws to a close. With a budget of £350,000, Mark and Sandra want to leave behind their busy lives in Burgess Hill, Sussex, and realise their country dream in Cornwall. So far, we've tempted them with 2 attractive rural properties, the second of which really appealed to Sandra. But coming up, our mystery property goes out on a limb to give them a room with a view.
Wow.
No, that is good. That is good.
And I see what happens when design and sport come together the Cornish way.
I'm wondering, after a night's sleep, whether Sandra's enthusiasm for House 2 has won over Mark's big reservations. And I can understand that he was a bit worried about the space in that property. So for our mystery house, we are giving them the potential to expand. And we're also giving some thought to Sandra's isolation, because if she moves down here and Mark is away in Windsor, she's going to be all on her own. So we're taking her a bit closer to civilization. Did you sleep well after all the excitement of yesterday?
I slept like a log.
And I was planning on what we were going to do to the second house.
And what do you think we might show you for the mystery house?
Really, I haven't got a clue.
I think some sort of conversion, an old tin mine.
In need of a little work.
While our mystery proposition does force us into uncharted territory, as we're straying outside of their preferred search area, to the town of Saltash. Set on the banks of the Tamar estuary, the river forms a natural border between Devon and Cornwall. If our buyers are after a lifestyle of leisure that involves a connection to water, Saltash is well placed for that, as it's home to a well-regarded sailing club. One of its members, local resident Peter Payne Hanlon, gives us an insight into what life by the water's edge is like here.
You couldn't find a better place to come and live.
It does look beautiful. I mean, so Devonport's just down there.
That's
and
right,
Plymouth
yeah.
across the way.
Centre of Plymouth is about 4.5 miles away.
Oh, there's a train, isn't there? I know this is the Brunel Bridge they're renovating here.
You can get the train into Plymouth from Saltash, and then it goes on beyond and up to London and other places. It's a great area for sailing, and it covers all the sort of aspects.
What about for beginners?
Well, the club does a certain amount of training. People are always looking for crew, and you can get introduced to sailing that way, and it's a great place. It's very sociable.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, the house we're going to show them is not a million miles away, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You guys follow me.
The mystery property invites our buyers to let go of their sea view aspirations and consider a completely different waterside experience, which it's ideally located for.
Here we have it, the mystery house. This white one with the blue door.
Okay. Not quite what we were thinking.
No.
Mystery.
Certainly is a mystery.
That's the nature of the mystery.
Yeah.
It's the
Certainly.
curveball. Then you've got this green and the river.
Yeah,
So
No,
it's
that is beautiful.
certainly
to
got
look out
views.
onto, yep.
certainly have. Absolutely.
Yep.
I've always liked North Cornwall and the North Cornish coast, so, and that was where we were looking, but it's good to open your eyes up to somewhere else. It's not that far away.
Another thing about this property is that you've been wanting to extend, and you haven't really been able to do that certainly in the one yesterday.
No.
And there might be possibilities here.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Interesting.
The Mystry House is a terraced cottage with panoramic views over the estuary and beyond. It's believed to date back to at least Victorian times, and as such is full of traditional character.
Come in here.
Oh, that's nice and light.
That is nice. Yeah.
And cosy as well. With the
Lovely fireplace, and I like the way they've taken the brickwork all the way back.
The present owners have been about 9 years, and they've done a lot to it.
That is a nice outlook, actually.
I think
And
all
the
this,
floorboards all taken back. as
yeah,
well.
original floorboards. This is an extraordinary story that apparently Lawrence of Arabia, after he came back from Arabia and was so famous, became a bit of a recluse and lived around here and would sail up and down the Tamar, and one morning broke down and was rescued by the fisherman who lived in this cottage. This was a fisherman's cottage.
Really?
And he came in, and then he became friends and would come and stay in this room. This was a Lawrence of Arabia's bedroom.
He was a fisherman's friend?
Yeah, he was a fisherman's friend. It's a great pun. So this is the front room, and the back of the house, I think it's going to be interesting for you. This is the kitchen as it stands now.
Galley type kitchen.
Galley kitchen.
Quite small but nice. So.
Unusually small.
No, and good and beautifully done. Great big thick granite tops, gas hob for you,
Yes, like that.
and a big utility room with all the white goods at the back.
Okay.
So this is, I think you'll agree, a perfectly workable kitchen.
Definitely, yeah.
But I'd like you to cast your eyes out the window to this return that goes up the side. Long term, you could, as neighbours have done further down the row, push out, and that, I think, would be just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Although there's scope to expand the kitchen, our Mystry property as it stands certainly isn't short of space. On the ground floor, there's also a separate dining room, featuring patio doors out to a pretty paved courtyard garden, with lots of pot plants and room for dining outdoors. However, this Mystry cottage provides accommodation set out over not 2 but 3 levels. Up on the first floor, a bright, fully tiled family bathroom serves 2 double bedrooms, one themed in cream and the other in blue.
So you could take your pick which one you want as your master.
Okay.
This one has the views, obviously.
That one has the views.
Very nice. And again, very tastefully decorated, and you
Lots
could
of
just move
storage
straight in.
space. So you don't really need a lot in here other than a bed and a chest of drawers because you've got all this cupboard space.
This first floor bedroom looks out to the front of the property across the water. But upstairs again on the second floor, the third bedroom has been turned into a sitting room to make the most of that outlook.
Love this.
Oh, a little hideaway. This could actually be a bedroom.
Could be a bedroom, but then you wouldn't be able to appreciate this.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
No, that is good. That is good.
This is a great feature, isn't it?
So when I'm out sailing and Sandra's done my dinner, so you just...
Well, actually, if you go back in there, they sit here. You can sit there.
Okay.
With a glass of wine chilled in their own fridge.
Yeah.
And they watch the racing on the river at the weekend.
We got
Drinking
the best
our
seats
wine.
in town.
Very seasidey.
It's a good mystery house, no?
Yeah, it is a good mystery house.
But, of course, it all depends on how much it costs and whether it's budgetable. So, what do you think?
I think about 300.
I would think a little bit below you, 285.
This house is on the market for 275. You know what I'm going to leave you to up here to admire the view and maybe have a little discussion, heart to heart, about what you think about it.
Okay.
And I will, as usual, see you at the front.
Lovely.
That is a great view. Can't fault that at all. In fact,
No.
I think I'll have another look at that.
A huge £75,000 under budget, the Mystry property is a wonderful waterside period cottage near to great travel links, ideal for Mark's commute. The cottage has versatile living spaces laid out over 3 levels that include 2 ground floor reception rooms, 2 first floor bedrooms, and the potential for a 3rd up in the eaves to take in those river views across to Dartmoor.
Although this isn't a location that we would have considered firstly, looking closely at it, there are a lot of activities that we could use around here. We could have a really good lifestyle, and yeah, so location-wise, it's great.
When you get through the door, it really is a lovely property. You'll have to give it some thought in terms of what it lacks. Does what's in there make up for that? And I don't think it does at the moment, but it's been really interesting looking around, and you certainly got the view that we were after. It's lovely, it really is nice.
It's not the far northern coasts of Cornwall, but it's not any worse for being a bit bustling. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
All done? If you just pull the door behind you,
Lovely.
we're going to collect our thoughts.
Okay.
The Cornish Atlantic coast has some of the finest surfing beaches in the UK, and it's estimated that the millions of surfers who dive into the waves each year contribute over £60 million to the Cornish economy. The most popular surfboards in use today rely on man-made materials, which are more buoyant and flexible, but impact considerably on the environment. In light of this, young furniture designer and passionate surfer James Otter has spent the last couple of years developing an environmentally friendly alternative to the mass-produced foam and fiberglass boards using locally sourced wood. I've come to James's workshop in St Agnes to find out how his boards evolve from tree to sea.
Morning, James.
Hiya, how you doing, Alistair?
Oh, it's like the school workshop.
Yeah, you're back at school.
I imagine initially they were wooden, were they? Was that historically they were?
Yeah, historically, back in ancient Hawaii, the Polynesians all rode solid wooden boards. And then kind of the early 1920s, a Californian guy, they used to have paddle races, and he drilled a load of holes in his board and slapped plywood on the top and bottom, and then he started winning all the races, so he was kind of onto something. And from then, kind of hollow wooden boards has been a small little undercurrent through the whole of surfing's history.
It's like a kind of classic board tradition. You're going back to the roots.
Yeah, yeah.
Using digital software for the design, a marine ply skeleton is cut out by a computer-controlled router, which is hand-assembled and then sandwiched between the top and bottom skin.
So that framework goes into the board here. Once it's all popped together, you start to see the shape.
This is the beautiful thing that we see.
That's kind of the finished skin, yes.
These hollow boards are made from locally grown western red cedar, then inlaid with strips of hardwood.
This is the cedar, is it?
Yep, that's the cedar down there. And then the different hardwoods are in various size strips that I kind of go and raid different people's offcut spins for.
Oh, really? So you can recycle the bits that people don't use?
Yeah, because long, thin strips are useless to pretty much everyone else. But they're great for me.
The average board takes about 60 hours to build from scratch, with much of the process done by hand. And James runs workshops giving surfers the opportunity to get involved in building their own boards.
This is beautifully... So is this one of the ones that your apprentices are doing? One of your
the workshop guys.
Workshop
This is one that a chap from London called Ian's come down.
It feels it's very. Okay, you can imagine if you. So they come and they do this to make their own surfboard.
Yeah.
So they must come very tactilely attached to them.
Yeah, and the wood lends itself really well to the old shapes. So the much smoother surfing, more stylish surfing, rather than quick, snappy performance surfing, because they're that little bit heavier.
The surfboards are then finished with a laminate fiberglass coating, then lacquered to give them a glossy finish that not only makes them watertight, but also highlights the natural beauty of the wood.
So we've got the finished boards here.
They're so beautiful.
A few. Yeah.
They're like works of art.
Yeah, they do finish up nicely.
Let's see how heavy they are.
Yeah, go for it.
Gosh, they're really light.
Yeah, they finish up. They're about 25% heavier than a foam equivalent.
Although surprisingly lightweight, these boards are tough with a longer lifespan than their man-made counterparts. And since no two bits of wood are the same, each one is visually unique. But they weren't made to stay on land, so it's off to hit the beach and see them in action, demonstrated by fellow wooden board enthusiast Matthew Arney. Conditions aren't ideal to create massive waves, but there's no doubt this locally crafted board cuts a graceful silhouette in the water. For now, though, it's time to find out whether the surf's up for any of our 3 properties.
So how's it been, your Cornish week?
Really interesting. You've done what you've said that you would do, and that is shown us 3 totally different properties.
Keep my promise. Let's go through the houses one by one. The first house was a grey day when we would see it. It was grey morning, but it did have amazing views at the back of the house.
Although the view was great, I didn't really like the location that much. The front of the property was quite bland. Go through the front door and there was lots of lovely parts to the house.
So it didn't quite add up as an offering?
No.
Not really. No.
So the second house, now this had a lot more curb appeal, was a beautiful looking property.
I fell in love with that property. The view again was amazing. The upstairs was beautiful. It's been done out exactly to our taste, so we could literally just move in there.
And Mark, you from the start seemed to be sort of stubbornly resisting its charms.
I just didn't get a feeling when I went in through the door that I really loved it, and sometimes that's the most important thing. I've given it a lot of thought since then, and I'm coming more around to Sandra's way of thinking, but we'll see.
And the Mystry house?
It was really nice, but just not quite what we're looking for.
And it wasn't your part of Cornwall.
And
I
do love the North Cornish coast and the beaches, and to have those in easy reach, anywhere from Bodmin across that way,
is the draw.
Is one of the big draws to come into this part of the world.
Is there something you've learned, or is there one property that you would pursue and visit again? What happens next?
Well, that second property for me had a feel about it that would really make me want to go back for a second viewing.
So it's still a contender, that property?
It certainly is, yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best. I mean, it's a tough place to shop.
It is.
For property, because it's got so many second homes and there's a lot of pressure on the market here.
Yeah.
But you've got some time and you've got a good budget, so I wish you all the best.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We've
you.
had a really excellent time.
Yeah,
Well, you brought
really
the sun
enjoyed
out,
it.
so we like you. I have actually just finished a Cornish pasty climbing up here to deliver these thoughts about the show, and partly to celebrate 3 great properties. I know that Mark and Sandra probably won't go for any of them, but I do think we delivered an important service in making them think about what they can get for their budget and also where they're going to buy here in this lovely county. So I hope that you've enjoyed our perambulations around Cornwall, and join us next time for more Escape to the Country.
If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, England or Northern Ireland and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/beonashow.